Hello there, Gennies. Genesis Lewison here, and we are with another chronological timeline. This is the chronological timeline of our sassy black friend, Madea. This is the Madea timeline, pseudo-explained chronological timeline episode. I don't number these. Alright, so, if you all know who Madea is, you probably all do, but if you don't, I'll explain. Madea is an elderly African-American portrayed by Tyler Perry in many of his films. She's more of a comedy relief. Well, back in the old days, she was a comedy relief for his more serious movies. Nowadays, she's a token. She's something he has to do to make money. So, but this is the unique thing. The series doesn't really have a timeline. A lot of the people just believe the movie. I can understand. I've heard, and this is what I was going with before. I've heard people in the past tell me, there is no timeline there, Genesis. There is no timeline. You're looking too far into it. I don't think I am, but they're like, think of it like this. They're all in their own universe. No, I don't really want to think of that either, because there are certain films where certain events overlap. I mean, Meet the Browns and Madea Goes to Jail and another one, they all kind of overlap each other, but I'll get to that. So, Madea, also known as Mabel Simmons, was born in 1935. Now, that's our ground date right there. Estimating that that's our main date, she is born in 1935. That would today make her almost 84 years old. So, estimating from there. Alright, so in my timeline, the first one I think is Madea's class reunion, is the first in the timeline. Now, I understand why many people would not believe this as, wait a minute, there never was a Madea's class reunion movie. What are you talking about, Genesis? I'll explain. I'm not specifically talking about this. Technically, I state that the play is part of the timeline. The reason is because, unlike a lot of the other plays, I mean, there's a lot of plays, but unlike the other plays, there isn't really a lot of connections to the play, because, again, the plays are canon, supposedly. They're like two different, the plays and these are in a different world. Again, even Tyler Perry built this to be retrospectively looked at sometime. Like me. But she's having a class reunion. I tried to think about it and try to think deep down. Madea was a dropout, right? She dropped out from school. So, what's her class reunion? She dropped out of high school. It's explained in a later film. Oh, I'm estimating that it's what class she would have been in if she continued. And when I'm looking at this, it would have probably been maybe 50s. I'm estimating maybe the 50s, maybe the late 60s, depending on our birth date. And just for you guys, we brought good old dandy phone. So, we're going to use calculator. And yes, I know, math, you probably don't like it. I don't either. That's why I'm doing it on here. So we take that and add up the regular high school age, which was 18. Just estimate. It would have been, ready for this? 1953 would have been when she would have graduated. Now, if her entire class graduated in 1953 and the class reunion is her going to her college reunion, her high school reunion, in 2003 is when the play came out, minus 1953, and yeah, you're probably doing your math. It makes sense because it would be her 50th reunion. Pretty unique there. That's where I first got the piece. She would have been 68 years old. Alright, so let's continue. The next in the timeline would be Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which takes place in takes place in the year it came out, is what I'm thinking. That would be 2005, and she would have been 71. Okay, many people don't know about it, but there is sort of a direct sequel to Diary of a Mad Black Woman. This was a book written by Tyler Perry as Madea. So Madea wrote a book, per se. This book was called Don't Make a Black Woman Take Off Her Earrings. This book came out in 2006, making it set in 2006, and she would have been 72 when she wrote the book. Eventually, as I said before, they do all the movies up until later films, and I'll bring it up then, connect to each other. So the next movie after Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which I kind of could connect there, is Medea's Family Reunion, which takes place in 2006. Once again, she was 72. Then the TV show House of Pain was on television. Madea does make, I think, a few appearances on that TV show. I myself have not watched it. I'm more of a fan of the movies than TV. But I have to bring up TV because it's there and it fits in the overall timeline. So, House of Pain, which takes place from 2000 to 2012, I'm estimating her ages around these time would be 72 to 79, depending on when the episodes appear. After, though, the next one after, not counting TV show, after Medea's Family Reunion, the next in the timeline would be Meet the Browns. And at the very end of Medea's Family Reunion, there is a fitting piece that at the end of Meet the Browns, Madea is running from the police. Meaning that Meet the Browns and Madea Goes to Jail are linked. This is obviously shown that because Meet the Browns takes place in 2008 and Madea Goes to Jail takes place in 2009. She is 74 in one and 75 in Madea Goes to Jail. Sorry. As we continue this, after Madea Goes to Jail, it would be the movie I Can Do Bad All By Myself. Now, this film came out in 2009, which is the same year Madea Goes to Jail. Now, as far as I remember, there was no references to Madea Goes to Jail, but I'm estimating they are connected, and it kind of fits too. But other than that, next would be Meet the Browns, which was the television show, which ran from 2009 to 2011. She would have been 75 or 77, depending on the length of the show, depending on the episode she would appear in. Stating as these all take place in the right time. Next would be Medea's Big Happy Family, which takes place in 2011, making Madea 77 years old. We can continue this with the play Madea Gets a Job, which came out in 2012, which would make her 77 years old, fitting these two pieces together. Next would be Medea's Witness. Okay, now here's where I said I'd bring it up. In Medea's Witness Protection, honestly, from my point of view, this is when the Madea movies started becoming cash grabs. All the other films were originally about really deep stories, very emotional, fight the black struggle, those kind of stories. And you could understand that's just how it was. I mean, Tyler Perry originally does stuff like that, other than the few people who call him a race baiter. But other than that, it does kind of make sense. But Medea's Witness Protection, when I watched it, it fell flat for me. And to be honest, I feel like that's probably because it wasn't no longer a race. I mean, I'm not saying Tyler Perry can't do other races, can't look at other races' problems. No. But I don't feel like he did exactly the best job with showing Eugene Levy as a rich white guy gone poor. Regardless. Next in the timeline after Medea's Witness Protection, which takes place when she's 79 years old, is the 80-year-old Madea in A Madea Christmas, 2013. Next would be Medea's Neighbors from Hell, which would have been the play in 2014, making her 81. From this point, it goes sort of a year-by-year basis, unlike the other films. Medea's Tough Love, the animated movie, where it takes place in 2015, estimating she's 82. Love Thy Neighbor, another Tyler Perry show, which ran from 2015 to 2016, she would have been 82 to 83. Finally, the last one, the most recent Madea movie, Boo! A Madea Halloween, takes place in 2016, giving Madea at the ripe old age of 83. Now, I do want to have something to say about this, specifically the Madea character. Sorry, got a crick in my neck. Yes, many people are probably going to disagree with me that that's an official timeline, because you're probably bringing up pretty basic stuff. Oh, Madea doesn't look any older, though. You think if she ran from this age to this age, you'd think she'd look older. Honestly, personally, you might not see it that way, but personally, I can kind of see her getting older. Now, it's not technically because he's probably Tyler Perry trying to make her seem older. To be honest, I think it's because Tyler Perry himself, as he gets older, Madea, the character, physically starts looking like she's getting older. I used to see him jump around a lot and really F around and stuff with the Madea character, like jump, slide, and do a lot of things. Everyone remembers the electric slide from Madea Family Reunion. But I see an issue with it now because Tyler Perry is getting older and Madea is a much more stable character now. And Boo Madea Halloween, I think it's probably the stupidest Madea film I've seen yet. If you disagree, drop down in the comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, because to be honest, I honestly just don't think it was a good film. I didn't even really think Christmas was a good film. I think the only saver in that was that Larry the Cable Guy's a good actor. But that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the timeline. There will be much more chronological timelines coming in the future. Peace out, Gennies, and a video coming out later tonight.